Tap in, lock in for the win. Let's spin, let's go. Peace, y'all, in the ethos. Welcome to the Real HD Show. We are that show on this or any other channel on these airwaves that you will find us fighting the good, the bad, the ugly within our people, nation, race, community, and we doing it with freedom music. Welcome to the show. This is your safe space, your safe place to lay down your ace. It's the Real HD Show. What does that stand for? The higher discussion. And we have to have a higher discussion with you. So that link is right there on the bottom for you. So you can tap in. My name is Devik. Nice to see you. Nice to be with you. You know what I mean? And let's get something done tonight, man. Let's get some action steps. Let's get some people popping. But if you want to get the freedom music popping on the Real HD Show, you got to tap in. You got to come on the show. You got to get the link that's always provided in the post. Come backstage to the Real HD Show, 7:30, and we rock out with all that incredible music. Welcome to the show. This is a Monday edition of the Real HD Show. We are in Melanated History Month. Black History Month is what they call it. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, turn on your notifications so that you could get the Real HD Show whenever we do one. All right. And they always come to you Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 9:30. And if we go overtime, it'll be 9:30 to 10 p.m. I gotta do this because I often miss it. So I'm gonna do this real quick. I'm gonna run through it real quick. All my sponsorships. Bring 5 people to the Real HD Show or any of the Real HD TV network shows and win a 4-day, 3-night vacation to a destination in the U.S. near you. You can vacation in the winter. Bring 5 people, courtesy of yourself, and win a mid-winter vacation courtesy of the Real HD Show and Redeem Vacations. Also, Total Package Energy. That's that melanated company, athletic tested, people approved, all natural supplement to give you that little bit of a boost when you guys have that 3 to 5 o'clock, lag at work or things that you have to do within the, the range of being productive. You got Total Package Energy on tap for you to do what you do. Now, if everybody likes the freedom music moment, that can only be possible if you help the Real HD Show. We've been on for about 3 years now, different capacities, but we need to get a sync license. And what is a sync license? Well, that gives you the ability to play music over these internet streets without being shut down. And we got a goal. Our goal is it's about $1,000. The sync license is going to cost about $750, but the $250 extra will be for equipment, supplies, and other things that we can bring to you. And if you go back and you watch us on, what was that? Twitter, when we first started broadcasting, and we were on 100.9 FM in Rochester, we included music after every segment, and it was so cool. It was such a vibe. And if you'd like that vibe back, $, the Real HD Show. Help us out, help us out, help us out. Spread it with the word of mouth. This is the Real HD Show, and we need you to have a great sync license and bring all that great content to you. Um, Looks like we got company already. What's going on, Jazz? How you feel?
Peace, bro. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad you could join us. I know you got a lot going on in your neck of the woods, but I appreciate you coming on because I got some stuff that we could hit on and that we could really like have some deep and higher discussions about this evening. So we just went over all of our, I know you were listening, we just went over all of our sponsorships and the things that the people need to know from a commerce point of view. And now we're going to get into our ancestors and elders blueprint on the Real HD Show. What does that mean? That means everything that we go through as far as issues and problems in this century, our ancestors probably went through the same thing because there's nothing new under the sun, just variations of it, right? So they've shown us answers to the things that we know we need answers to. So sometimes all you got to do is go back, dig up the old proof, lay it out, improve upon the old model, and there you go. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's get into our ancestors and elders blueprint. I'm not going to spend a lot of time. It's a quick vid. I'm going to stop it, but I want you guys to get into some Charles Caldwell. This brother was a rider, and I want you guys to see what this brother was all about. And I won't play the whole video. I want you guys to go and look at the rest of it yourself.
Ago,
Check
the
it out.
Mississippi State Senate passed a resolution ordering the state's black citizens, who made up the majority of the populace, to leave not only Mississippi, but the whole country. The Senate voted on February 20th, 1922, by a margin of 25-9, to request that the federal government trade some of the World War I debts owed by European nations for any portion of colonial Africa, to which the government would then ship Mississippi's black residents, thereby creating a final home for the Black American. The incident serves as a reminder of the length of time that certain white Southerners fought to deprive African Americans of their political rights, as well as to uproot them from their own countries. Welcome to yet another great video regarding the history of Black people. Here, we highlight the historical existence of Black people and their contributions to global civilization. In this video, we're going to look at the historical legacy of a Black man named Charles Caldwell, a former slave who went on to become the state of Mississippi's first Black senator elected, and was known for his unwavering enthusiasm and commitment to the cause of racial equality and political respect for the Black Americans and women in general. If you're ready, let's get started. A historian predicted in the late 1940s that Charles Caldwell, who devoted his life to the Reconstruction struggle for Black citizenship, economic opportunity, and equal rights for women, would one day be known to all Mississippi kids, Black and white. At the time, racist films like 1915's Birth of a Nation and school textbooks gave atrociously incorrect images of the Reconstruction era in the South, especially when it came to the role of Black leaders like Caldwell. Despite the efforts of people like Caldwell and his associates to refute the idea of racial supremacy, images like these contributed to its perpetuation. Born in Hinds County, to a slave mother and a white father, was one of Mississippi's first Black senators during Reconstruction and the top Republican in Hinds County, Charles Caldwell. After the Civil War, Mississippi saw significant upheaval, and Caldwell personified these developments. By the time of the Civil War, Caldwell became a blacksmith, a relatively privileged position that gave him more freedom than the majority of slaves and put him in a good position to benefit greatly from emancipation. Caldwell was one of the more outspoken Republicans in the state, calling for the Black majority to have full political rights and improved economic possibilities. In Mississippi and other southern states at the time, Republicans, the party of Abraham Lincoln, were by far the most liberal and supportive of the civil rights of freedmen. Despite being literate, Caldwell did not have the same formal education as some of his Black colleagues, and by the flowery standards of the day, he was not a particularly effective orator in political debates. Caldwell had more freedom than most plantation slaves because of his ability as a blacksmith, and he was well liked in his neighborhood. After the Civil War, Caldwell ventured into politics. 16 black Republicans, including him, took part in the 1868 Mississippi Constitutional Convention. Although a statewide referendum rejected the radical Republicans' proposed constitution, Caldwell backed them during the conference. Caldwell resigned from his seat on the Hinds County Board of Police and was elected as one of 5 black men to the Mississippi Senate when Mississippi finally ratified a new constitution in December 1869. During his 5 years in the Senate, Caldwell earned a reputation as a radical Republican by supporting the 14th and 15th Amendments, as well as other bills that would have brought racial and gender equality to the state. Despite taking a liberal stance on racial and gender problems, Caldwell spent much of his time in office fighting back against a wave of anti-Republican and anti-black violence that swept through Mississippi as anti-Reconstruction Democrats sought to retake the state assembly. The Ku Klux Klan and other white supremacist groups are thought to have murdered several hundred black men and women between 1870 and 1875, as well as several white Republicans. Caldwell was a key player in the pivotal 1875 campaign that put an end to Reconstruction in Mississippi. Radical Governor Adelbert Ames activated the state militia when the violent nature of the Democrats' attempts became apparent, and Caldwell was given command of the 2 Jackson-based companies. To transport weapons to another company, Caldwell marched his troops from Jackson to Edwards Depot. Ames was compelled to mediate an arrangement that disbanded the militia in exchange for Democratic commitments to conduct a peaceful campaign after the incident sparked worries of a race war among the state's white population.
All right, so we're gonna stop right there because that can go on for quite a long time. That's a big video. So you guys go and check that out and get yourself informed about bro Charles Caldwell because he was a rider. 1868 became the senator and then of Jackson, Mississippi. And then also he eventually was executed and passed 1875, I believe it was. But that brother marched 2 army regiments way up into the suburbs of Mississippi, armed and ready to get it on for freedom, justice, and equality. That's why we celebrate the ancestor, Charles Caldwell. And I'm trying to find, did I not put his picture up? I thought I did. Okay. Anywho, let's keep it moving, man. Let's keep it moving. So I think we lost Jazzy a little bit. I hope she comes back. That would be dope. No, here we go. Here's the picture, brother. Charles Caldwell, Republican. And we got to remember, back in the day, it was a switch. So the party of melanated folk back in the day was Republicans. They actually called themselves Democratic Republicans, and then they just dropped the Democratic and became Republicans. And then, of course, in the in the 60s, early 70s, everybody switched over to Democrat. It says Charles Caldwell, leader during Reconstruction. Store was on the northeast corner of Leake and Jefferson Streets. 1865. Caldwell, a former bonded person, was delegate to the 1868 Constitutional Convention and was elected to the state Senate. And he was a rider, you know what I mean? So give it up for him. He was dope. Go check him out and get your fill of brother Charles Caldwell. That was our Ancestors and Elders Blueprint Real HD show. Now, I haven't done this in a while, but we're going to stay on that same wave, and we're going to go right into our stolen legacy moment. And our stolen legacy moment comes, I was hoping Brother Mozzie would jump on, but that's cool. It's this right here. Dr. Mary Charles, the creator of surnames, she researched the creator or the creation or the legacy or the history of surnames of the Normans, secret history of blacks in old Europe. This video is going to be about a minute long. Hang with me, rock with me, Real HD Show. Check it out. You won't regret it.
That in Germany and France and Britain, we find that the signs and symbols of stars and stripes originate from foundational black cultures. Now, these...
Stop it. Just quit. This is insane. I'm loving it.
This is the blueprint for the flag of the USA.
Come on.
And these are hundreds and hundreds of years old, way before it comes into fruition into America. My question is, who were the Normans of 1066? On to the next slide, please. And here are the Normans.
Oh,
have they ever told you they were black?
Oh, stop it now. You know I ain't got no hair to fall out.
Look.
Come on.
I have 1,000 of these images. Lewis, Gaspard,
oh, this is insane.
Henri, Joseph, Maurice. These are the Normans. You see where his head is? I mean, let's not even get into the semiotics of that shield. It's a text in itself of conceptual thinking, but the Normans were black.
Mm.
Now, you would get some people to argue with you about the validity of that. Some people would say they were like Celtic. Some people would say they were like Vikings. Some people would say that they were Scandinavian. But if you go back and you do the knowledge with Dr. Marie Charles, you will find out a lot of pertinent information on how the Normans were created. You'll find out information on Saint Maurice, Pope Sylvester. You also find out information on Septembus Severus, another brilliant brother who was melanated who ruled in Europe. And you can find them in these books too, right here. Check it out. The Negro Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. That's one book for the show. And then this book right here, Ancient and Modern Britons, David McRitchie. And this is a dope book. And it's also a reference book. So you guys, if you guys get into this, you guys can order it. I'm not even sure if it's in print anymore. So if you're going on Amazon or any of those exchanges to buy it, you might have to kind of go to one of the black bookstores that are still around and see if they'll order it for you or give you a copy or whatever. These things are like really, really highly regarded material because they don't want them spreading. You see what they're doing in Texas and Florida, changing the whole curriculum around. But that was our Stolen Legacy moment right here on the Real HD Show. Jazz, what you think about what we dealing with right now on the show? Brother Charles Caldwell, the rider, provider out of Jackson, Mississippi. And then we talking about ancient modern Britons, where how much blacks influenced the coming up of Europe as it is right now. Here's what I'm gonna do. Europa was the daughter of a Phoenician king. And that's who Europe was named after, if we going through the paces. And if you go back and you check out my show on the American flag, I did reference what they said. I referenced that King Leopold back in, I believe it was the 11th century, was the first one to incorporate the Jacob and Boaz red and white pillars, which became the basis of the American flag. But where did those things come from? Those things also came from melanated folk. And they also gifted the world with various surnames. So let me pull that up and I can tell you more about it. Da, 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 da. Pop up. Come on, behave. Where you at? Okay. So now I'm going to zoom in. And then it says the name Warner. Everybody knows Warner, right? Warner Brothers. Warner, right? Time Warner, right? Warner's all over the place. Warner, the surname, was introduced into England by the Normans. Conjugates include Garner, Gonsler, Garnier, and the German Warner, Werner, and Warnhier. Now, Warner happened to be a translation into, not a translation, but a adaptation from the Normans. And this is where you can find it. You can go to Migration of Surnames through Heraldry, German, France, and British, and you will find all of these idioms. Hey Jazz, do you watch any of those like what is that called? Upton Abbey, or any of those like Queen Charlotte, or any of those crazy Netflix shows where the sister is running after the European dude trying to get married to him and everybody's all stuck like glue to it? Is that one of your guilty pleasures? Oh, I didn't add you in. My bad. Go ahead, say that again because you weren't added in. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no worries. So yeah, I'm very much into time period shows. When it comes to like, the Vikings, and when it comes to the Queen, Charlotte and Elizabeth and the Golden Period and King Henry VIII. I'm into all of that stuff.
So you hip to the fact that Queen Charlotte was melanated, right?
Yeah, she was what they deemed the term mulatto.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And she had, I believe, she had 13 children.
Yep. She's in this book here.
Yep. She had
And she
13 children.
and she's in this and she's in these installments there as well.
And
Um
there was another, there's another movie as well, that actually had, referenced, the Atlantic slave trade. And it was talking about a a woman who was born of noble blood, and her father was high ranking in the naval guard in Europe, and she inherited, but she wasn't accepted into society because she was brown, and she couldn't eat at the table with the
uh,
family because she was brown, so she had to eat in the separate kitchen, when the rest of the family had dinner.
right.
I
On
can't. Her name was Belle, and then the name of the movie is called Belle.
okay. Okay.
You
Okay.
can find it on Paramount, I believe.
Okay. Dope. Dope. Well, it's not dope that that happened to her, but it's good that that movie's out for everybody to reference. So let's get into our AAT report. Check it out. Hey, this is our AAT report, healthy, wealthy, and wiser for a great you, because we need cell power. Why? Because a couple years ago there was a pandemic that swept the world and killed a whole lot of folks. I lost a gang of folks. Everybody lost somebody near and dear, and we also got robbed. Those who were allowed to, or those who were stayed, also lost, a lot in your cell power because either you got the jab or you had to wear the mask or whatever. So we look for all of those things that are going to make us healthy and vibrant and ready to go. So let's check this out. Slow moving Tai Chi is more effective than aerobic exercise for reducing high blood pressure. I mean, we all seen it. Mr. Miyagi, Steven Seagal, Wesley Snipes, and they'll be in these kung fu or they'll be in the martial arts movies. But while they're training, they're doing these slow waving type of exercises that are very slow and very focused. If you ever did like Shotokan or you ever did like a judo, they call it kata, where you move slowly and you purpose and you control your breathing and all of those sorts of things. So this article, let me pull it up. Slow moving Tai Chi is more effective than aerobics. And you can get this out of, where's this? Good News Network. Okay. And I want to thank my wife for, producing this particular story. She's a wellness, executive. So with U of R. So, she's on it like that. A new study found that Chinese martial arts Tai Chi was more effective in reducing high blood pressure than other forms of exercise, such as brisk walking or stair climbing. Scientists compared the two groups of participants with high blood pressure over 1 year practicing Tai Chi and other forms of aerobic exercises. In a study published on the JAMA Network Open Journal, says the results should encourage health advisors to promote the gentle martial arts in preventing heart disease with those with hypertension. Chinese martial arts practice self-defense with health during 4 supervised sessions every week for 1 year. What's your thoughts on this, Jazzy? What you think? Would that work for you? Would Tai Chi work for you?
It's kind of like yoga, so I think that yoga would be complement to that. So maybe why not?
Yeah. I think it's a wave, and then of course, hey, brother Mozzie. So it's a wave because, like you said, it's like a yoga, and people even doing that hot yoga right now. I don't know what that's about, but and you got that fin, and getting it in. I don't know what that hot yoga is about, but if it's anything crazy like the yoga sessions I be hearing about, people passing gas and all type of stuff, I don't even know what hot yoga is about. But anyway, so please go out there. I think there's a Tai Chi studio on University. Down there by ShopRite. I think there's a Tai Chi studio over there. So go check that out. And please relay to the audience. Let us know what you think. And we are going to continue with our AAT report because I wanted to show you guys a vid. Because last week we were talking a lot about melanin and the power of melanin and what they're using melanin for in some of these more recent times and some of these more recent like inventions. Of course, they're lining military weapons with melanin. They're using melanin to help heal eyesight. They're using forms of melanin to heal cuts, scrapes, and wounds and open sores and things like that. And now the latest way that I found that they're using melanin is they're using it in a piece of tech. So let's check this out. This is a quick one. Hey, brother Mozzie, you ever heard of Vanderblack watches?
Yeah. Never seen one, but I've heard of them.
Yes, it's almost like they're so dark that if you put them on a black surface, it disappears and all you see is the dial.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. But check this out, Real HD Show. so this is super rare. It's a super rare watch because they're using nanoparticles that they got from melanin. There's a fish that's at the bottom of the ocean, and it's so steeped in melanin. It's one of the most melanated fish in the entire world. It has one of the deepest concentrations of melanin from any animal in the world, and they're using it in this watch. I'm gonna share my screen and I'm gonna put the article up that kind of goes with this, and then you guys can let me know what you think of it. There we go. All right, scientists have found that some fishes absorb 99% of light from the sun that hits them. The deep sea menagerie got a whole lot weirder. Now, what does this have to do with Vanderblack? Well, I'm gonna get right to it. It said we had no idea all the fishes were ultra black. This is a Duke University scholar describing the findings. As far as we knew, the only vertebrates that were ultra black were the birds of paradise and a couple of other bird species. It was the first case of we have something like this black really used as in, camouflage as well. It says It says you might be wondering if the sun's photons didn't penetrate past 200 meters deep, the fish would need to camouflage themselves from the blackest black in the animal kingdom. This is the reality of the ocean's depths within a glow with light in the form of bioluminescence produced by the critters across the tree of life, from bacteria, from fish to squid. Then it says, trying to get to the part about melanin. Okay, it says, so how do we know these 16 species of ultra black fish camouflage themselves so well? It's all about melanin, the same stuff that gives us humans our skin coloration. The skin of these fish positively packed with a layer of organelles called melanosomes, themselves loaded with melanin. Tons of melanin alone, though, couldn't make these fish rival the darkness of the Vanta black. When you shine a light on the fang tooth of its peers, the melanosomes absorb most of the photons right away. But what isn't absorbed side scatters into the layer. It is absorbed by the neighboring pigments. That's all packed right up close to it. So basically, they took the science of melanin and they created a tech in a watch that utilizes nanoparticles of melanin to produce this camouflaging effect for this watch. Now, that's really, I think that's super duper. Oh, we lost Jazz. Okay, maybe she'll come back. What do you think of that, bro? What do you think of the science of some of these, I guess, corporations researching, manufacturing, and coming up with a watch run exclusively on melanin with camouflaging effects, and I would guess all the sort of aromatic and hydrocarbon based effects that melanin would have. What's your thoughts on that, bro?
I think it's them moving one step closer to cloak and dagger. Trying to create, disappear. You make a nice suit, person turned down, he's in the middle, because everything they do is around battle anyway. In the midst of the battle, and the guy disappeared.
Yeah.
Like, where'd he go?
Yeah.
I'm right here. The hollow man.
Right. Peekaboo.
Yeah, creating the hollow man.
Now that's what I was gonna get into. Now imagine if they got the watch going, then they probably got the shoes already. And then it's on some get smart, right? Inspect the gadget stuff, right?
Yep. It's how can we I think where they're at right now is they're doing it on a small scale. How do we do it on a mass scale? How do we create a bodysuit that we put it on, zip it up, and everything they do is clandestine.
And then they give it to you know, their what do you call that? What's the Manchurian candidate? And then away you go.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But we in the middle of Black History Month, melanated celebration of melanated people all over the planet, especially in America, where our contributions are put front and center. I found this dope poster, bro, and I'm glad you on, because I don't know if you ever seen it. Check this out.
I've seen posters like that. I'm trying to remember.
Let me bring it a
Somebody
little
online
closer.
where you can order it too.
Yeah, you sure can. You sure can. And I mean, they got everybody. Naeem Akbar, they got
This is a newer version.
Francis Cress Wilson, Dr. Ben, Dr. Clark, Amos Wilson, they got them all here. Sabi, what do you call that? What's the brother name? Milana Karanga. You got a nice, it's upgraded. You know what I mean? It's upgraded, updated.
Yeah, you got Dr. Julia Hare on there.
Renoko Rashidi, yeah. All of those, Professor
Top right
Small.
corner. I wonder how many people know who that is in the top right corner. I wonder if anybody in the audience could tell us who's in that top right hand.
Hey man, if anybody knows the name of this brilliant scholar that's in the top right corner of the poster here, tap in, leave it in a comment, and you'll get yourself a restaurant voucher courtesy of the Real HD Show. So check it out. So I thought this was really dope. But what's really happening right now is there's a lot of, I wanted to talk about the utility of Black History Month. Is this something that we should continue to do? Or are we like this brother here, and what he thinks is that the new wave? And should we be celebrating Black History Month 365? Check this out.
History Month you find
ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
You want one?
No.
I don't either.
All right, let's have it. What's your thoughts, man?
Well, it's Morgan Freeman. I remember seeing the episode. If you follow Morgan Freeman's history, he's along the lines of an Armstrong Williams. He's not a Jesse Lee Peterson or Uncle Ruckus.
No.
He's more of an Armstrong Williams. They love their white women. And, hey, I ain't got no problem with who you love. But, these dudes want to always stand alone and stand out. And that's all that is, man. And what people fail to realize is, why do we have this Black History Month? Because the reality is, he wasn't talking about blackness or history in December. Wasn't talking about it in July. So if you can you got to build a foundation of somewhere. And if February is where we build that foundation, hopefully the foundation is big enough to eventually it bleeds into everyday life. And we haven't done that yet. Because once Black History Month disappears,
where we at?
Ain't nothing else going on. It's just another, hey.
Check this out. It's a video of the same sentiment. It's real quick. I just wanted to play it for you. Real HD Show. Check it out.
Hi, folks. Happy February. That means it's Black History Month. It has come to my attention here in the home office that there are still some white folks out there asking this ridiculous question. You really asking that question? Still? Then let's answer it. See these posters and political buttons back here, which are part of a collection that I've gathered over the years? They are somewhat representative of American history, certainly over the last 100+ years. 150 years if you count this Ulysses Grant pin. Notice anything about them? Definitely old. Not all dead. Yes, they are overwhelmingly white folks. Do I have to say this? American history is already overwhelmingly about white people. The white people who founded the country, the white folks who seceded from the Union in order to preserve slavery, the industrialists, the internationalists, the Cold Warriors, overwhelmingly white people. American history is already about white people. They don't need a month. They've already had 245 years, give or take. And you're worried about 1 month of Black history? Why are you worried about Black history? I could probably come up with some reasons. None of them would be particularly attractive. Let's don't do that. Instead, let's just celebrate February. Don't be afraid of Black history. It's not going to hurt you.
I mean, that's pretty much it in a nutshell, man. You can't get any better than that of what he just said.
Yeah.
The reality is, if there was no Black history, then we would not even know that there was Black people, except for on the news.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are the same people who cry and complain, the anti, somehow, the whole thing around, what's that thing called? CRT.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like nobody's talking about, everywhere you go, you want to ban anything that talks about Black people.
Mm-hmm.
We're still dealing with that. So how can you sit and say, what about white history, or we don't need to be celebrating Black history? We can celebrate, but you know what? When Jewish people say we want to celebrate Jewish history, nobody complains about that.
Very true. Very true. They mandate one field trip a year dedicated to Jewish history. The Holocaust, don't they? They
Yes,
make
they
all
do.
them kids go and genuflect to the Holocaust every stinking year.
And the thing is this: they're always allowed to never forget.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we ain't saying we're trying to forget. We're saying we just give us a little month and let us talk about some things.
Right. So, in keeping in tune with the same Black History Month wave, we put this up of our brilliant minds and scholars, and those are some of our more recent people of, like, let's say the end of the last century up to this point. We're not really going way far back. We're talking about Du Bois and Garvey and all of those folks. So, in an effort to pay homage to these folks, we put this poster up. But you know how when you're dealing with them folks and they can't even get your name right, you say your name 10 times.
And you tell them how to pronounce it.
Yeah, my name is Mozzie. Like there's no.
Ma. You didn't hear "mad" come out of my mouth. You heard "ma." Come on, man. It's a 4-letter word, and you can't get that right.
Right. Well, Target fumbled Black History Month too because they couldn't get it right. So Target fumbles Black History Month, and this is right now, because they couldn't get 3 of the people that they were trying to highlight and honor, and they couldn't get their name right, their spelling right, anything about them correct. And you guys can find this article in Forbes, by the way. Black woman who teaches history posted a TikTok video insisting that, where'd you go? Come on back. All right. Yeah, insisting that Target immediately discontinue the sale of some magnetic stickers that they had in honor of civil rights icons. The critique was too woke, debatable culture war attack on one of America's largest retailers. Instead, it's about an unacceptable representation of historical facts. It's one of the many reasons why teaching and learning about race in schools and workplaces is essential. On the kit, the face of E.B. Du Bois appears on a magnet labeled Carter G. Woodson. Booker T. Washington's face appears on a label of E.B. Du Bois. Carter G. Woodson's face appears on the magnet labeled Booker T. Washington. Many Americans would excuse this as a harmless mistake, but there are several noteworthy applications for schools, product manufacturers, retailers, and other workplaces. Children are introduced to only a handful of Black icons in most K through 12 schools. So this history teacher threw a stink over the fact that Target mislabeled these people. What's the old saying? Say what you want, but spell my name right.
There you go. but here's the bigger thing, man, and that speaks to dysfunction and the destruction of America. People don't do their job, and they don't do their job correctly. If I was working, if that was me, I can guarantee you it weren't Black people, because you are not allowed to make those kind of mistakes,
right,
in the workplace, and that's a fundamental problem that we have. It has more, and I get it. They may not want to do it or whatever else, but to me, that's just I'm paying you to do a job, and look how much money you just cost me.
Yeah. Because think about if it was a teacher, you got teachers all over the country trying to honor Black History Month, and they want to get a little knick-knack for their little students, and they go get these magnets, and they all wrong, and now you can't give them out. You stuck with some boo-boo magnets, you know what I mean?
And there you go, right there, man.
Yeah, man.
People are allowed to be slack.
Yeah.
That's the undoing of America. Why you so busy worrying about race issues? Why you so busy worrying about what Black people are doing or not doing, or what they may have and all that? You ain't doing your job.
Yeah. Facts. But let's hear what this one person, and I haven't done this segment in a while. Let's hear what this one person says in this segment that we haven't done in a while on the Real HD show called Karen Apocalypse. Check it out. I usually save these goofy things for Wednesday, but I thought I'd put it in today. Shout out to the African Diaspora Network. Go check them out. They got some really dope content. I'm going to put on a video in a second. This is this woman on a rant about Black History Month. And, as you critique the utility of it and necessity of it, and whether it's good or bad or indifferent, or whether we need to expand it to a year-long celebration of it, which you really should be doing anyway. Let's hear what this woman says, and let's see if she has a legitimate claim. Check it out.
Video is going to represent actually a portion of them folks in this country, because reality speaking, I'm actually glad she's talking this way. Let's go ahead and roll that.
Is being Black trendy now? Is that what this is? Because it might be considered a little racist. Let us have something. Well, you've got affirmative action, you've got all Black colleges, all Black scholarships, you've got the BET channel, you've got the BET awards, and you've got an entire month dedicated to celebrating your history and culture. I'm not real sure what else it is that you're looking for, because that sounds to me like quite a few somethings.
Now, every time Black History Month, comes around.
All right, we're going to go. 107 USC 106, fair use, videos used for educational purposes only. Your thoughts on that, man?
Once again, man, they have a preoccupation with everything that's Black.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is to the detriment of who they are as a people. And that's why this country is falling apart. Because everything they do is always around making sure that Black people don't do or don't get.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Indian folks, the Patel family's buying up all the hotels.
Hey, peace,
buying up all
what's going on with you?
Are buying up all the 7-Elevens. You know what I mean? You got, the Asian folks controlling the fishing industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you got, you know what I mean? So you got all these things going on, but it's okay, because we're worried about those Black people. We're over there bombing them people in Arab countries, but it don't matter because we're gonna let them come into the U.S. to show black people that you need to be like them. Meanwhile, do you really think that you can shit on somebody and then they're gonna always just be your friend? Man, come on, man. They got, as Dr. Bobby Wright says, man, they got a psychopathic racial personality, man.
Say that one more time.
Psychopathic racial personality. And it's a book by Dr. Bobby E. Wright.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to play, by the way, thanks for everybody tuning in on the many, many channels that we're broadcasting on. We're on 5 Facebook channels, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Mob Crush, D-Live, Trovo Nation. We're everywhere. Check out the Real HD Show. Let's have a higher discussion. Please like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications. So every time the Real HD Show comes on, you can check and be involved. Let's have a higher discussion. All right, man. So we were talking about that, and it brought up some interesting things that I was checking out in terms of how we're being viewed, or you know how the nation is very polarized now. Trump and a lot of extra folks on the other side of the world, or the other side of the aisle, or the polarized way, as it were. They have these viewpoints of who we are and what we represent to them. You hear things like, great replacement theory and all these other things. And I came across this book list here. And this is a book list recommended by Jared Taylor. You familiar with this cat, bro?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So he has this interview with this melanated Italian lady, and they're talking about white identity. And it's just interesting to see how the other half lives, the other half thinks, what's going on in their world, and how we, live rent free. Like you said, we live rent free in their heads in a lot of ways.
Bro, don't we?
It's vice versa to a degree as well, but they're, the history of America tells us that they're pretty much preoccupied with what's going on. But this is some of the think tank stuff that's going on, Manhattan Institute, quote unquote, right? Some of the think tanks all over the world, and what they're thinking about in terms of how they see themselves and how they see this, macro purposing playing out. So we got, reversible damage of transgender care, origins of woke. So, everything's woke now. Everything woke is wrong right now. War on whites, losing control. If we do nothing, they're lying, untenable, so on and so forth. But what was really interesting was this clip of this cat, Jared Taylor, and some things he had to say about identity. So I want to play a little bit of it, and I want you to hear it. Just it's like a minute clip in the beginning and a minute clip at the end of the interview. You guys can go on YouTube. It's about a 39-minute thing. So we're going to listen to about 2 minutes of it in different ways, and then we'll chop it up after that. But let's do that real quick. I didn't introduce it.
Africans have been here long before the Italians and the Irish showed up. And the black-white divide is surely the most serious, intractable social fault line in the United States today. I'm a very wicked person, according to a lot of people.
Hi, I'm Danielle Romero. Thank you so much for being with me here on my channel, where we dive into American history, family stories, and what does it mean to be an American. I'm about to interview. So I haven't read all of your stuff, but I'm very interested in it, partially because when I'm almost 38, and growing up, I checked off the white box, and we didn't have a lot of conversation about it, but I just kind of had this intrinsic understanding. Well, we're a white family, and as I started doing ancestry work, I came up with I have a lot of questions about who counts as white. Now, my dad's side were Southern Italian immigrants. They came over in the 1920s, so pretty late, right before the ban on Italian immigration in 24. And then my mom's side, turns out it's a little bit more diverse than we thought. I thought she was Irish and French. That's how we grew up. And it was a pretty standard mix in New York. So not a lot, you know, we didn't question that. So this idea of white, I thought it made sense to me, and it doesn't anymore. And so I would love to talk a little bit, not to talk about should whites have an ethnic state. I think that's a separate conversation, but just kind of like who counts as white. How would you define those parameters? And I'm sure they're probably, I don't know, like no pun intended, but are they black and white parameters, or how do we go about defining who is a part of that group that gets advocated for?
For the most part, there's really very little ambiguity about it. If you took 100 New Yorkers at random, you wouldn't have that much trouble saying, okay, these people are white, these people are not. And there would be some ambiguous cases, no doubt about it. But for the most part, most people can just tell. If your ancestors are from Europe, then you're going to be white and you will look white. Now, I find it quite fascinating that people debate the question or the legitimacy of saying that someone is white or not white. Let's imagine that you were the dean of students at a university, and somebody from the Black Student Union walked in and said that, you know, we'd like to have a graduation ceremony just for Black people. And that's very common in universities. Nobody would say, well, really? How are you going to figure out who's Black? Nobody would dare say that. The campus would probably burn down. So this is a question that, for the most part, is asked only of white people. If there's an Asian student union, or Hispanics have some sort of clubhouse on campus, or if there is a firefighters association that's for Black people, nobody is going to worry about who decides who's Black. This is a question that is reserved only for white people. And I think, again, for the most part, there's very little ambiguity at all. Very few cases in which people would disagree and say, oh, he's white. No, he's not white.
You know, what you're saying reminds me of Justice Sutherland. He oversaw a lot of like the Supreme Court cases in the 1920s about like who could count as white, because, you know, this.
You'd find that. I mean, maybe there's some people think like that, but I don't, and the people that I know don't think that way either.
So white, I mean, I guess, would you say, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say it's a physical, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say white is more of a physical or cultural distinction? Then?
It's both. And white people are the biological descendants of, I think, an absolutely magnificent culture and heritage, which, again, just like white people themselves, is constantly being run down and insulted and thought to be equated only with slavery and homophobia, for heaven's sake, extermination, settler colonialism, as if no people ever on earth has ever done anything bad to any other people on earth except for white people. This stuff is insane. But this culture, I think, has really created the modern world. I think it has contributed all manner of absolute masterworks to culture of all kinds. And white people living today are the biological heirs to that civilization.
All right. I know that was a mouthful, and that was a lot to say and a lot to digest. Brother Mosley, what are your thoughts? And even y'all at home, let us know what y'all thinking about what this cat had to say, because in the beginning of the video, white people were the victims. Everybody was getting, except for them. You would almost attribute it to being racist, like the woman said in the video, that everybody was getting benefits, everybody was getting handouts, everybody was getting the accoutrement of it all, except for them. They're the only ones pulling themselves up by their bootstraps and being, downplayed for it. You believe in the white victim tale, fairy tale? What's your thoughts, bro?
Well, the beauty of whiteness in America is that they have a privilege of amnesia.
Right.
The act as if certain things never existed in this world.
Right.
When Black people tried, they always, if you don't like America, then why don't you leave? Well, Black people tried to leave. You wouldn't let us. You know what I mean? So it's like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, before you trying to burn up all the history books, we can find, in libraries across America where there were a lot of thriving Black communities. We did exactly what you wanted us to do. You wanted us to leave you the hell alone, get the hell away from us, and go and take care of your damn self. We did all of that. But for some reason, you were preoccupied with us again, and you went out and destroyed our communities. Then you want to talk about we're violent and we don't see where white people are out here doing all these different things. What the hell happened to some of these communities? This didn't happen just 100 years ago. Some of the stuff happened 50 years ago. So these are the things that, once again, that this is why Black History Month is so important. And we don't not just talk about the grandeur of Africa and the grandeur of some of the other things. That we got to talk about some realistic things that happened to us. And that's important because if you don't do it, you'll sit here and listen to these idiots, and you get Jesse Lee Peterson would love this dude.
Jesse Lee Peterson.
You know what I mean? I don't want to keep talking the brother up like that, man.
Right.
But we got to understand there are people in our community, man, under the guise of whatever it is that they subscribe to, man, that are actively working with them to destroy us. And are so messed up in the head that when he talks about us, the Blacks, I mean, nigga, you about as black as the ace of spades. You talking about the Blacks. Oh, what the hell are you?
Right. So before we move on
like that, man.
So before we move on from that, let us know at home what you think about this. Let us know what you think about Jared Taylor. Is he right? Is he wrong? Does he have a point? Are white people victims? Or every other socioeconomic group getting handouts, but white people aren't? Civil rights was designed for our folks, but white women, that was their come up socially and economically. You know what I mean? They became the double minority status within that purview. So go ahead, bro. Talk to us. Let us know at home. Put it in chat.
What you went to a large PWI, so did I. They never asked that question about the Korean Student Association wanting to have an all-Korean graduation. They never asked that question about the Arab students who want to be separate and have theirs. And only when it comes to the melanated folks who are descendants of slaves in America do that ever becomes an issue. And once again, why is this preoccupation with what we do? They can't even function properly, man. Because they're so concerned about what we may have, what we may get, or what we may do. And they're just so concerned about it. I mean, people listen to us. They are so they don't care about nothing else on this planet as it relates. We're just dealing with America. They don't care about nothing America no more. We don't own no real estate. This country, if you stay in this country, man, this country is falling apart by the seams and is not owned. We don't own anything. And this migration that's coming over is just another trick bag on us and whatever else. But the reality is this: all of that is still related to the fact that they would rather deal with immigrants than to deal with poor Black people in this country. And then because they want to show us that, see, they came over here and look at what they did. Yeah. They're preoccupied with Blackness, man. But the unfortunate part, given who they are as the ice people, is always in a negative way, in a negative manner. Why do we have to conquer it? But they don't try to conquer no other group of people in this country. They'll conquer them over in their own country. But here in the U.S., the only group of people that they're worried about is Black people. We're down and out and destitute. We still only own 0.5% of the wealth in America that we owned when we walked off the plantation at the turn of the century. And they still are concerned about us. They tell you to get out. They still, they feel threatened. It goes beyond threatened. It goes way beyond feeling threatened because they have the weaponry. They have everything that if they want to really go and really felt scared, they would go and wipe us out. If they can, and the reality is this: if they can do it and get away with it internationally, they would do it. Because remember what happened with Daniel? Was it Daniel Prude? Well, what was the one in Minnesota?
Oh,
I forgot the
Floyd.
brother name. George Floyd.
Yeah.
What happened nationwide, internationally? The rest of the world was like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
How could you do that?
Everybody was outside over that one.
Worldwide, like how could you sit there and look at that and then call yourself a humane individual and then try to tell the rest of the world how they should live and how they should be? Think about that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I was looking and listening to this cat, Jared Taylor, and all of he's in the Charlie Kirk of it all and the kind of white supremacist of it all. And he's complaining like white people are this minority that don't run the show. Like there aren't systematic things that, systematic oppressive forces that they've maintained this kind of stratification with over the centuries, and they don't benefit anything from it. Now all of a sudden they're the poor boohoo minority. Every other ethnic group is getting except for them. But check this out, and I don't know if all my I got a couple New York City people on right now, so check this out. I don't know if they're hip to this. Major corruption scandal at New York City Housing Authority involves a third of the buildings with at least 70 arrests. And the arrests have to do with varying alleged corruption, kickback schemes, any housing authority facilities, and of course the FBI just came through like Dragnet and got them all and rounded them all up. Now this reminds me of the Bronx in the 70s and the early 80s, where the Gottis and all the Italian dudes had all the contracts to maintain all the project buildings, the windows, the doors, and they were getting kickbacks from Koch and all the mother cats to just get money hand over fist. But we supposed to believe from this Jared Taylor dude that somehow they disenfranchised.
Right.
How they disenfranchised when you ain't getting that bread good right now? You know what I'm saying? Or don't tell nobody.
Didn't they just
the
have a
housing
scandal?
authority hooking us up? Like you ever seen them construction contracts, and you see them on that same construction site for 2 years, and you like, yo, ain't you supposed to be hanging some doors? How it take 2 years to hang some doors?
Didn't New York, they had an issue maybe about 6-7 years ago where there was all this overtime spent on maintenance, and once again, no doors were put up. People ain't got no front doors of their house, ain't got no running water, they got holes in their wall, and you got $350 million worth of overtime, and no one knows what got fixed during that overtime.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That's the part that's funny about it. You see, one of the things that's happening in the European community is that fight now, because and like when I listen to David Duke, the poor white people were suffering now. See, we can't now. The issue is not about, for him, we're not going to fight about black people anymore, because the reality is we look stupid. We really do when we start to look at it, and we're starting to suffer as a people. Why are we suffering? So who are they going after now? They're going after Jewish folks. So they're trying to say, we're oppressed. We can't say it's because of black people, because we oppress black people. So we got to find somebody else. So now they're starting to show there's a separation between the whites. You got these Jewish people, and then you got these good old American white people. Go figure.
Hey, my brother Darius Fed, he said, any YT who feels threatened needs to stop complaining. Have they seen the wealth gap, the literacy gap, the housing gap, the income gap? They crying wolf. Exactly, bro. Those are poor white people who have voted against their interests for decades. And
there you go.
wealth in America, even for white people, isn't the same. Stratification. And when you play
that's the key part. Voting
Mhm.
against the interest because they were preoccupied with blackness.
Yeah, like I forget the dude that was in the what's the dude names that's in Michigan that makes all of the social commentary movies? What's his name?
The
The
fat
white
dude with the
guy with the
glasses.
glasses, yeah, the little frumpy dumpy dude.
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore. And in one of his joints, I think it was I don't know if it was called Sicko or whatever it was. He was talking about the American healthcare system. And he was talking about the Affordable Healthcare Act, Obamacare, as they call it. And they're talking about this dude in Arkansas. Of course, that's a red state. And the dude in Arkansas had an accident in his garage and he cut all 3 of his fingers off. And he was too poor to afford coverage. So he didn't want to sign up for Obamacare. Ain't that crazy? He didn't want to sign up for the care, so he lost his fingers.
But it's now black people's fault
being
that it's
politically
happened.
correct, being politically aligned, being, the racism and the, whatever it is, the foo-foo of it all.
And the thing that's interesting about it is they'll then try to spin it as if, see, if we didn't have Obamacare, I wouldn't have these problems.
Right. That's crazy, man, to me. Like, you got free healthcare and you can't afford it and you missing 3 digits and you ain't gonna sign up for the joint because you want to be a Trumpian. Yeah, that's retarded to me. I don't understand that logic, but whatever.
That's just like what was the brother who got choked out in New York on Staten Island over the cigarettes?
Oh,
was that Eric Garner?
Was it Eric Garner or was it Mike? No, Mike was the kid who crashed his car in Brooklyn, right? Right. Yeah, I think it might have been Eric Garner. Let us know at home. It's been so many unfortunate deaths due to police violence. We
would rock out with the one hand. You're right. Let them rock out with that one hand.
Rock out with the one hand. Right. Yeah, man. So it's some things, man. But let's move on real quick because we could pontificate on this forever and ever and ever. But it's a red pill, blue pill moment. Let's go to it.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Yeah, man. That's my joint. So, Darius Fat, Lady T, you guys are on. What do y'all choose? Red pill, blue pill? Y'all want the truth? Or y'all want it nice and easy? What y'all want? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. Because we got some real serious topics that we could jump into. We can go into this UCC filing from the E Pluribus Unum America Inc. piece and how that meshes with the birth certificate bond. We hear all these rumors about how your birth certificate is a guarantor of some sort of money or something like that. Or we can go to another red pill hardcore issue, because this is a thing here. The growth of homelessness and the baby boomer generation. So what y'all want to do, man? Red pill, blue pill? What are we talking about? Hey, my man, Darius Fat said, give me the red pill. And then, hey, my name ain't Alex, but I hear you, sis. All right, so let's go. What you want to talk about, Mozzie? What's your flavor, man? You want to talk about these boomers being the new Skid Row folks? Because I think that's powerful in a lot of ways. Because who's going to wind up being the ones to take care of these folks?
The ones who come right after them who ain't got nothing. The Gen Xers.
Are we ready for that though?
We're not, because Gen Xers.
Are we aligned? Are we ready? Are we prepared? Are we prepared to take care of our parents, our grandparents, our aunts and uncles? You got that mother-daughter situation all set up so that, so that when that happens, you can move them in, and you got that insurance plan all lined up. You got all of the bennies and all of the things. How's that going to impact your economics? How's that going to impact your way of life? All of it, Go ahead, bro.
That's one of the things that we have to talk about, man, because the reality is this. The people with the wealth in America are boomers. So for a lot of our boomers to find themselves homeless, what is taking place that's causing them to be homeless? Because they're the ones who had the pension plans. They were the ones who, education, the union jobs, all that different stuff, man. And all that stuff went away by the time the X's rolled around. So our generation, if you're not working for the government for the most part, you got to find your own way to save and for your retirement. So the X's ain't really in no position really to take care of their take care of nobody. So it's interesting.
So this article, you can find this article in Senior Care Lifestyles, the Assisted Living Matchmaker. And it says, why are there so many homeless baby boomers? The study of homeless populations in 3 metro areas, Boston, New York, and LA, found that many of the baby boomers who find themselves homeless were a part of a wave of younger, less educated seniors who faced serious economic challenges while growing up and never recovered. A disproportionate number of people became homeless. Many now homeless baby boomers worked physically demanding, low-paying jobs that lack pensions and benefits. As a result, a life spent barely making ends meet has led to this. Some of them remain homeless today, and other seniors who lack sufficient retirement savings are joining them. And we know that Skid Row in Los Angeles is, super packed. They had that movie with what's the Spanish lady's name? That was in Dust Till Dawn with the heavy accent. What's her name?
Selma Hayek.
Selma Hayek. There you go. And then the white boy that was in Cheers, and they played in the movie, and they would talk, and it was featuring the homeless population in Skid Row in Cali and how bad it is, and it's like primarily guys on Skid Row, but of course they're women and children and the whole like. But what does that mean for us? Like every time I do these type of here we go, generational wealth is vital. There you go. It could be an economic crisis. Baby boomers have been affected by many recessions and depressions. I agree totally. 2008. I mean, you can go on. Cyclical. You know what I mean? You can even blame gerrymandering it for it, because of how, the congressional dollars and the representative dollars flow into communities. And then of course you wind up having to pay a heavier freight for the same thing that other folks in other areas don't have to pay as much for or get better quality for. But are we ready to take care of our mamas and our aunties? Go ahead, bro.
Well, one of the things that they talked about was some of the uneducated ones, things of that nature. It's interesting that they would say that because even some of our uneducated folks still landed, that are boomers, still landed low-level jobs that gave them a decent pension. And then you couple that with Social Security, they should be able to live. But I think one of the issues and one of the things that a lot of them are dealing with is they are dealing with the fact that, prices have gone up, man. And we don't talk about that. It's not that some of these folks, they can't keep up with the rent, man.
Yeah, we also talked about that. What was that called? Planned obsolescence?
Yep.
And how that generation spent decades buying the same toaster over as it improved it, or buying the same washing machine from Kenmore over and over and over, and buying the same station wagon over and over and over, even though it was the same model, same feature, but just had slight upgrades. It's not all mismanagement. A lot of it is purposely driven.
Correct.
And one of the main reasons why the economic scale has widened so much. Last time I watched, what is that joint with the Boss show on CBS?
The Boss.
Undercover Boss or My Secret Boss or
yeah.
My Boss Goes to Work or some crap
like
that.
He comes and checks out things on the job and then
he has
knows
to
who.
spend, the CEO has to go and be
undercover
on the
boss.
job like the employees and do the same thing they do. You know what I mean? But that the economic disparity, the savage inequalities of it all is out of control. That dude is making 35, 40, 50 times what his entry level employees are making. And that's never really existed in history, And
the sad thing is this, even after he goes down there and works with them, he doesn't do anything to rectify that. What he does is, hey, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you $10,000 to cover your. I'm like, bruh, really? I don't need no $10,000 to go on vacation.
Right.
If you really want to do something nice, buy me a house and give it to me so I ain't got no mortgage.
Yeah.
Because you only paying me enough to cover the taxes anyway. So why don't you just give me that?
Right. And as they age, and of course, we got the medicine around now that is going to keep these folks alive a lot longer than they used to be.
They continue to experiment on them, but go ahead.
Right. Exactly. We got another comment.
Exactly. No, you don't have to promote me to VP. Just give me some more money.
Yeah.
You bringing home $10 million. You mean to tell me you're going to suffer if you're down to say $2.5 million?
And then, of course, you got investment firms and investment houses like Vanguard and BlackRock playing 3-card Monte with your retirement and with your 401k and your pension. You know what I mean? And now the whole CBDC piece is going to happen. And what's the turnover and what's the the ROI once all of that takes place? Everybody's very fearful. If you listen to inflation, yep, absolutely.
Well, here's an interesting thing that I think people need to understand about 401k.
I hear you. Keep going.
What people need to understand about 401k though is a 401k is a sham. Because when you look at how 401k got started, after we came out of the Great Depression, we wanted people to invest in the market. They help keep it, to kind of keep it afloat, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that the average person is not going to invest in the market. So they created something like 401k, which companies can have, which allows for the individual to now, get involved in the market. But they don't get in by being a day trader. They get involved by putting money into their 401k, which is traded on, which is invested in the market.
Let's see, we got a comment. Let's see what's popping. My last job that worked 18 and a half years. No pen. Wow. See? Crazy. That's wow.
Hey, I worked in the private sector. No pension. All we ever got was 401k, IRAs, that kind of thing. Got to invest your money wisely. Save a lot of it.
Yeah. And Social Security drying up. We got real things, man. And how does that impact your life? You and your loved one, y'all chilling, y'all doing y'all thing, your wife, y'all doing y'all, relationship piece, y'all having your family, you're trying to have your grown and sexy time, but you got, moms in the room down the hall.
I used to do it. They should do it before back in the day. So I don't know. They had many generations in the house back in the day, and they still was popping out kids.
Yo, I mean, we gotta really, and then of course we gotta deal with the, you know, the piece that also comes into play when folks start aging and getting into hospice, and how much that's going to, you know, put a strain on your stress level, your money, your finances, your energy, your time. Ain't that many nursing homes in the world. Are they going to recoup? Are they going to? Is Medicaid coming for them bennies? You know what I mean? When you using it, now they coming for it because that house is up for grabs now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know how white folks do it, and just a little known fact that people, I don't know if people know, but the biggest Medicaid expense is white women in nursing homes. That's the biggest Medicaid expense. It's not black folks on, you know, and because they ain't got no job and they got 4 kids and on welfare. That is not the biggest expense. The biggest expense by far is white women who are in nursing homes.
Fire. Love that. Using the land my elders left me to rent houses. Gotta have multiple streams.
That's the key right there. You gotta have the multiple streams.
Super facts. Super facts. Like if you could get involved with the gig economy while you have your career purview and then stack that way, that's a good way to get it done too. But I love that too. That's dope, Lady T. I appreciate that one. That's fire.
And you know, here's an important piece that I think people need to recognize, especially a lot of us, a lot of those. I mean, I do have some time put in the public realm where I do have some pension money coming. But here's the thing: these pensions, man, they're being strained right now because there's more people putting in that's taken out than those who are putting in, and then even more. Remember back in the day when you went into government jobs, for example. You went into that job knowing that maybe you didn't make a lot of money, but you made enough money to live a really good life, but you got really taken care of on the back end with a lifelong pension, all that other stuff that you ain't got to worry, that other folks didn't have, you know, who was making a lot of money, you know, have to worry about. But now, I mean, think about it. You got the guy who used to be they had a big story about him in the write-up. He was a sanitation worker in New York City, riding the garbage truck. This dude in retirement is making 3 times in retirement what he made when he was working on the truck. Now, if I'm budgeting for people to work at $50,000, how the heck? I never budget for them to have a pension of $150,000.
Yeah.
So, you know, there are certain groups of people that are very short-sighted in their thinking. And so when they create the problem, of course, you know who the problem is. See, it's because of them black folks. No, it ain't because of me, bro. When you took all of Ford Motor Company and moved all the plants down to Mexico, black folks ain't had nothing to do with that.
Or you took all the contracts and gave them to the prisoners.
There you go.
Instead of hiring good folks,
mm-hmm.
I could have got a second or a third job to fight off some of this baby boomer homelessness. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Here's one last point I want to get to about this. And if we know these things are on the horizon, and we just talked about pensions and 401ks and retirement and how fickle it all is, and we know we may have to take care of our people at some point, do we start to do the rich dad, poor dad thing? The Robert Kiyosaki, do we do the rich dad, poor dad thing? Do we start to readjust our thinking about money, like Lady T said, so that, and be more aggressive about how in an earlier stage of how we're using retirement 401k. You know how you can borrow against it and do little spot things here, little spot things there, take out a little lick for your child's college or whatever you do, right? Whatever the parameters are. Are we going to start to see, especially for our people, should we start trying to seek out monetary financial instruments that allow us to be a little more aggressive in the contemporary times with that sort of money, so that we can fend off things coming down the line? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's going to have to be a multi-pronged attack because some of us are just living with too much excess.
Say more about that.
Do you need to have a new ride every year? When you go out, do you have to buy a new ride? We know a new ride now. Shoot, you want to drive a new, I don't know, Beamer. It costs you about the same as a mortgage now.
Yeah.
So do you really need to have that? You know what I mean? Get you a vehicle. You buy your little Honda Accord with the 4-cylinder engine, not the 6-cylinder. So not only are you saving money on it because it's used, but you're saving money because you're saving money on gas. So we have to now be prudent in terms of as we move forward. Not saying that you need to give up your life, but we need to be able to realize that the creature comforts that are constantly being in conspicuous consumption, that's constantly being pushed down our throat, is not something that we need to be focusing our energy on. Because in the end, when it's all said and done, you don't hear no old person say, "Damn, I should have bought that damn Lexus before I died."
Right. That's a fact.
They talk about some of the places they could have went, some of the people they wish they would have met, some of the things that they could have done, the relationships that they should have mended. All those things ain't got nothing to do with money. We need to learn to eat to live and not live to eat. Because then that may, as it relates to eating, we keep our food bill at a certain level. But we're so caught up into the excess and the conspicuous consumption that these things start hitting us, man. We don't know what to do. We're so concerned about how many people do you know, and you're in the education field, how many people you know that are educated, they retire and they go on to buy an even bigger house after they retire? Yeah. They're like, bruh, you had that house for 30 years, bruh.
Yeah.
Why are you going to now sell it and pick up a mortgage on another house?
Yeah.
Just so you can show off.
Or the thing that I hate, I mean, there's a lot of debate about this, but what I don't like is if, you got the wealth transitioning happening for those who have it. And for us, it's almost like our people's pass and, pass on homes. And then you can't see the forest for the trees. Everybody's in this emotional tizzy and everybody just carve it up like it's a big ass cake.
Mm-hmm.
And they in the wind with it. And then nobody got a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of afterwards. Because they're not, because they didn't really take that wealth opportunity seriously.
Mm-hmm.
and really use it for what it is. Like I always make the example, I lived in the Bronx on 233rd Street. My grandmother's house is worth $1 million right now. But my mother and my uncle couldn't see clear enough to say, nah, let's keep this right here. We had 3 bedrooms on the top, 2 bedrooms in the middle, and a full basement with a kitchen and a sub pump, access to the front and the backyard, streetwise. In New York, that's a gold mine. In the city, that's a gold mine right now. But we couldn't see past emotions and family dynamics and the foo-foo and the la-la of it all to be like, nah, let's keep this right in the fam, rent it out, do whatever we got to do, turn it into a business. Ain't none of us getting younger. We all need resources. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now we facing baby boomers homeless. You know what I mean? That would have been my mom. That would have been my uncle. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to, rest in peace to Uncle Jay. Rest in peace to my mom. Love you guys. But, y'all didn't do that right. Put it in my name. Put it in AJ's name. Yo, put it all in AJ's name. I'd have rocked with it. I'd have rocked it out. Yeah, man. Shout out. 1104 233rd Street. Shout out. Have you been over there, man? That thing, it looks like an arcade over there now. It's crazy. Food trucks with lights and music. Crazy, man. So different than when I grew up, man. So different.
New York gonna be it's gonna be, especially Manhattan in particular, is the home of the rich and famous, man.
Mm-hmm.
If you are the world elite, if you ain't part of that world elite, you ain't living in Manhattan. Now you may go out to some of the other boroughs, but that's gonna be for the rich folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
The American-born rich folks.
Yeah, man. If my wife brought this up, but I'll say it real clean, real quick. Get you guys a death doula, man. If you know you got a matriarch or a patriarch about to pass, and y'all got some funny waves in the family, get y'all a death doula so y'all could bring peace to yourselves, especially if it's a lot of siblings, a lot of cousins, a lot of people involved that, you know, are going to get real funny style with the way that things are matriculating as your people get older and getting hospice and all that. Get you a death doula, get them, or a counselor or a pastor or somebody with knowledge of self or somebody with some sort of wisdom to sit y'all down as a family and say, what's the plan? What we doing? Because we're not going to have this beautiful family fall apart because the matriarch or the patriarch then passed along. You know what I mean?
Well, I think part of it too, man, is
And now
just
you
being
stinking
able
up the
to
go ahead, bro.
just being able to state what it's going to be like when you get old and you're about to pass, and what happens when you pass. Because if we don't say nothing, man, we're gonna leave it up to folks to try to figure it out. And as you know, that brings out the best of us and the worst of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, man, I appreciate everybody that came on tonight, all the people in the chat, Darius Fett, Lady T, everybody that jumped on in the chat. We had mad people rocking, everybody that was on us. Mob Crush is heavy right now, as always. Twitter got some people popping right now. We appreciate everybody that came on, everybody that gave a comment or a message or made the show lively. We appreciate you like cook food. Please come back on Wednesday. Join us again where we talk about those things that matter to us, because we don't get these forums, man. You know what I mean? What in the world does all of this stuff got to do with us? Join us Wednesday when we attempt to answer that question again on the Real HD show. And jump in. We deep enough to swim in. Hopefully Mozzie could join us. I always invite a full panel of people. Not everybody can make it all the time. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. We get it. Timestamp what you like. Like, share, subscribe. Turn on your notifications so every time the Real HD show is on, we can have a higher discussion. Peace, y'all. Walk with power. We love you. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, bro. Thank you, man.
All right, man.
That was a good one.